Wow, Joe, you've known me a while. Would you say that I'm a gambling man?
A gambling man?
Mm-hmm.
No, not
That's
necessarily.
Correct. That's correct. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm way too anxious for that.
Yeah.
However, today I kind of gambled on myself and my knowledge of comic books. You see,
Okay.
the script is like 1/4 of the way done.
What?
And the rest I'm going to do on the fly, winging it, rolling the dice.
Just based entirely on your comic book knowledge?
Based entirely on my comic book knowledge and a couple of Wikipedia articles.
Okay.
You see, I didn't want to push back the start of Season 2, Part 2.
Sure.
Further than we already have. But also, I ain't had a lick of time or spoons. Except for I did watch 4 out of the 4 Fantastic Four movies.
You watched The Fantastic Four.
I watched The Fantastic Four, Fantastic Four, Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, and Fantastic Four.
Fan-4-stick.
Fan-4-stick. I also watched the first episode of the 1994 Fantastic Four animated cartoon.
I didn't realize that was a thing.
We'll get to it.
Okay.
I also read the new Alex Ross graphic novel, Fantastic Four Full Circle. It's gorgeous. The plot's okay, but it's gorgeous.
Well, it's Alex Ross. Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah. Also read Fantastic Four: The End, and
The End.
Yeah, in like the mid 2000s, Marvel did a series of comic books that were like, hey, what would theoretically happen at the end of each of these heroes' runs? And like most of it's like they die horrible death.
I mean, that tracks.
Yeah, and they're not overall they're not great. I didn't actually finish the one that's Fantastic Four, but I do know that it ends. Spoiler for this comic, I guess. It doesn't end with them all dying. It ends with them all like getting back together and being because they break up after the kids die.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I guess that would happen, huh?
Yeah. And the Punisher's the end is pretty good if I recall. Because he did exactly what he wanted to do. He killed all the bad guys. Because there's no one left.
He got them all.
He got them all.
Good for him.
Yeah.
Good for him.
And then aside from that, I've also read...
Thank you, John Bernthal, specifically.
Right. Thank you. You the dude. Unstable Molecules, the Fantastic Four story, and Fantastic Four 1, 2, 3, 4 by Grant Morrison.
I knew there was going to be some Grant Morrison.
And that is the only time I'm going to mention their name.
Really?
Because I don't actually like that story.
I'm astounded.
Yeah.
I cannot make good on my promise that there would be more Grant Morrison jokes in this episode.
Unfortunately, most of the comic books I've read for the Fantastic Four are out of continuity.
Huh.
Like The End isn't.
Oh, sure.
1, 2, 3, 4 is not.
Really?
Well, yeah.
Huh.
I have read exactly half of the Jonathan Hickman run, which is fantastic, but I also don't know what the...
You had to use that word.
It is super duper.
There we go.
It's real Batman.
Nice.
But the second half, I'm really excited to read about because I won't spoil that because people they may actually like reprint that run for when the movie comes out.
Oh, that'd be fun. Okay.
Anyway, I don't know what I'm doing other than being a comic book nerd since the age of 5. I keep flipping through these books like there's answers underneath here. There aren't. I'm not awake. I thought,
well, yeah, you accidentally put like an SAT cheat sheet under there for some reason. It's just...
But I wrote half in red and half in blue over top of each other, and I have these 3D specs that I can... That's an old joke. Nobody's going to get that.
Antonio got it. It's fine.
Antonio. Thank you, Antonio. I'm glad you enjoyed that. That's one for you. So what I'm trying to say is I don't know what's happening, and I'm going to try real hard. Be nice. I burned off half my face like 10 minutes ago.
Jesus Christ.
Trying to be the Human Torch, but also trying to light a cigarette on the burner. It's not even the first time I've done that. It's...
Oh, that's right. You couldn't find a lighter. That's... Oh, my God.
I couldn't find a lighter.
That's how this happened.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, like, my eyebrows were starting to turn a little white because stress and old. Not a problem. Fixed it.
Jesus Christ.
You know how when you like burn a string and it'll like roll up and kind of become gummy and then hard?
Yeah, sometimes.
It's my eyebrows.
No. It's the worst. I don't want that feeling on my face.
No, so I keep picking at it because I'm like, there shouldn't be balls on my face.
Phrasing.
Hey, welcome to DeRazzled. The podcast takes award-winning worst films and fixes them. I'm host Jack Culbertson, here to suffer alongside me, as always, is also host Joe Nealis.
Flame on, everybody.
Hey, what are we even doing here today? I didn't even bring up the script that I half wrote.
Jesus. We're doing great.
We're doing just the best. Hey, DeRazzled, unrazzling movies, unmovies, and Jack's existential dread.
With fire.
With fire. So as I was telling Joe before we started, the holidays, I normally dread winter because it means several holidays in a row, which means I'm going to use all my spoons. And then by the time January hits, no more spoons.
No.
I'm dead for the month of January.
All gone.
Except for it was my partner's birthday, and there were several events because I think people probably picked this up from context clues, but we're polyamorous. So, surprise!
There's lots of stuff going on.
Right.
Lots of people.
Well, it wasn't a problem before. I mean, it's not a problem. The polyamorous not a problem.
Right.
But
the birthday is also not a problem. It's just,
being born is an issue, but not the problem in this.
That's a problem for everybody.
Right.
But...
But what it does mean is that because she's likable and all of her partners like her, they all want to have a thing for her. And then I'm expected to be at all those things.
Yep.
And I'm very tired. And I watched a lot of Fantastic Four, most of it all in one day. So
yeah, that was your mistake.
Well, you're right. You're absolutely right. I already kind of ran through what I researched for this film.
Yeah, that kind of just became the opening to the episode.
It did. Fuck. So, specifically, we are covering 2015's Fantastic Four.
Yes, the co-winner for Worst Picture, if I'm not mistaken, because we already did 50 Shades of Grey.
I'm glad we'll have this year taken care of.
Yes.
Mostly. So, I guess I will try to summarize the Fantastic Four movie. What's my little spiel here? Instead of providing a highly descriptive summary full of quips, we're playing a game called Pavlovian Horses, wherein I'll have 5 minutes to summarize the movie and not a second more. When the timer hits 5 minutes, Joe will blast me with horse sounds. Horses. I forgot. I actually did write this part of the script. Horses. They're why firemen use fire poles. I guess they have that going for them.
What? But wait, what?
So when firehouses were first built,
Uh-huh.
They still use horses.
Okay.
And they had these like wide stairways, right? Because the firemen had all their equipment. But they were too wide, so the horses would come upstairs and harass the firemen while they were sleeping.
Oh no. This is your nightmare specifically.
It is. I do like how it ends though, because we do get fire poles.
Fire poles are fun.
Yeah.
I do like a good fire pole.
So they made the stairs narrower so the horses couldn't get up, but then they had all their equipment, so like, well, we can't get down.
So Jack, in a way, we have horses to thank for
strippers.
Ghostbusters.
Yes, Ghostbusters is what
Also
I said. The weird Venn diagram of horses and strippers and the Ghostbusters.
So upset. I have the horse sounds ready. So,
Great.
Oh, I need a timer. Hold on.
Okay, what did Jack write for Jack to read? Not much.
Timer is set to 5 minutes. All right.
Mouth.
Yeah, get some of that good bean juice.
Yum, 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 yum.
All right. On your mark. Get set. Go.
All right. I watched Fantastic Four, Rise of the Silver Surfer, and Fantastic Four back to back in an attempt to rip the Band-Aid off as quickly as possible, which I did. It also had a Cronenbergian effect of combining the plots of all four movies into a singular monstrosity in my head. There really isn't that much difference between the four films and the three casts. The biggest difference that I can remember is that Fantastic Four 2015, the movie that we're officially covering today, goes out of its way to confirm that the Thing does not have a rock penis.
Yeah, it's very disappointing, yes.
It does not. Much like Alan Rickman, I think Metron.
Metatron.
In
Dogma.
What year is it? 2006 or 19,
No, it was like
1996?
96 or 97. Yeah.
Smooth.
Total Ken doll. Yeah.
Yep. With that in mind, I'll be delving into the plots of the Fantastic Four as a singular film, Fantastic Four Cubed. The fourth power. Reed's a goddamn nerd who is friends with a real muscular nerd, Ben. Ben is sometimes a football star, also a pilot, and occasionally gets a... what does that mean, Jack? Oh, yeah. I was being a pervert. He gets the rock bone, Alicia Masters. She's a blind artist / sculptor. It depends on which version of the film you're watching.
All right.
They're married now.
Neat.
Yeah.
Good for them.
Yeah. Except for in 2015, because there's no rock penis. So there's no rock
penis. No, there's no rock boning.
This monster, is joined by Sue and her brother Johnny, who is also a scientist, but sometimes not. Sometimes just likes extreme sports.
Yeah. Or drag racing.
Yeah,
whatever.
Mm-hmm. And sometimes they just come along for the ride because Reed has the hots for Sue and her 90s mom hair.
She never really has a good haircut, does she?
No, well, especially as the next sentence says, her 90s mom hair or her terrible dye job or her awful blonde wig. It's a reoccurring problem.
It is, yeah.
Also, in The Fantastic Four, the first time that Reed and Sue meet is because Sue and Johnny are living with her aunt in her boarding house, which is where Reed and Ben and I think Dr. Doom all are like staying for college. And Reed sees this like 8-year-old and is like, nice. See you again. And that 8-year-old is played by, do you remember the little girl in Addams Family Values that is in the Thanksgiving play?
What, the one that faces Wednesday's ire?
Yep.
Yeah, okay. Yep. Yes, I know exactly who you're talking about.
Little Sue Storm. She's also in Buffy the Vampire Slayer. And I was like, hey, maybe this isn't comic book accurate because I haven't read like the first couple comics. It is.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, I mean,
I hate all of
maybe
that.
not the age range difference, but definitely like. Anyway, so after that, depending on the movie you're watching, they either steal a rocket, invent a meteor watching machine, or a teleporter, and it all goes bad. Each one of them, all the times. And then there's the one where they try to put flowers in space, but they didn't put good armor on the spaceship.
It's kind of important,
which is fine because they sent Michael Chiklis out to like plant the flowers in space. But they all do have Dr. Doom except for the 94 unreleased one. He blows up. And
he blows up?
The first time they used the meteor watching machine, he dies.
Just explodes.
Yeah, but it's all right. He's fine. He comes back later. He's real metally then.
Sure.
But then the one time they were in the negative zone where he drinks green juice, I think Ecto Cooler, and gets
nice.
Green veins.
They baned him a little bit?
They baned him.
Okay.
But also in the one with the guy from Nip Tuck. That's he just has bad acne that turns metal. Yeah. Ben in all of them is real mad because Reed's his friend and Reed turned him into a big rock monster. Oh my god, already?
40 seconds.
Oh man. Then the Silver Surfer arrives and he's kind of attractive in a shiny kind of way. Wears a lot of silver, and then Dr. Doom steals the snowboard, which prevents Galactus from...
None of anything to do with the movie we're talking about today.
I fell asleep after the 1 year mark. There, I said it. It was so stupid. It was my fourth one in a row, and Miles Teller is in like Uganda or something, hiding because he stretches now. It's Sue is an awful cast. Oh, ooh. Big clumpy teeth coming down on me.
There's some teeth there. Yeah, it's unpleasant. Yeah, unfortunately, Jack, this is the first time you've been caught by the horses.
I got what I deserved. Honestly, that was abysmal.
Oh God. So I mean, you were getting to the actual plot of this one. After the horrible teleporter accident in another dimension, Doom gets left behind there. The Fantastic Four all get their powers, even though Sue wasn't actually in the teleporter. And then
Contact Buzz.
Yeah, contact. Yeah, she's a little contact Buzz, so she gets the cool power. And then you have the very dark introduction of all of them kind of dealing with the aftermath of that and learning they have powers and seeing Reed kind of stretch his way through a ventilation duct, which is real uncomfortable.
It's gross.
And then he runs away to Uganda or wherever, and then Ben and Johnny get conscripted into the army for stuff by Tim Blake Nelson, and then they find Reed and bring him back, and then somehow Doom survived, and the end, more or less.
They moved to Central City, which is where the Flash lives, which is confusing to me.
Wait, did they do that in this movie?
Yeah. They definitely moved to Central City.
I absolutely missed that detail. Why would they do that?
I don't know.
That's a different company's continuity entirely.
I mean, I guess there's probably multiple Central Cities, but also,
I guess it's a common name.
This is for comic book fans.
Come on, guys.
They're like, hey, we're sorry we did that thing where we made you government agents. We're going to give you your own city to kind of experiment on yourselves. We're going to call it Central City. Because
and then we're going to end on you having a cheeky little back and forth about what you should call yourselves.
I don't regret falling asleep.
I messaged you, fuck that ending scene, as soon as I finished the movie.
What was the ending scene? Yeah. No, it's awful.
Yeah, it's so bad. There's unnecessary, unearned animosity between Johnny and Ben for some reason. There's just a bunch of arguing back and forth over stupid shit, and then Ben just says, it's kind of fantastic. And it's like, say that again.
It's so dumb.
Shut up.
So dumb. And normally, I'm watching the movie, and when you have a blockbuster film like this, and it's just the tones change a lot, I normally assume it was okay, well, writer 1 wrote this script, then writer 2 came in, kept some stuff, didn't fix the tone well enough, and then repeat until piecemeal garbage.
But as you had mentioned to me before we started, that's not what happened with this.
For the most part, no. Every time they tried to make, because they knew they were going to do a reboot.
Sure.
Because Rise of the Silver Surfer didn't do well.
They very much did not, no.
Saw it in theaters.
Really?
I like the Shiny Man.
He's a good Shiny Man.
That's it. That was it. That was the entire, the group of people I suckered into going with me. I was like, Shiny Man, nothing else to do? And they're like, yeah.
Yeah, all right.
You're right.
Shiny Man, nothing else to do.
They would, they would write a script. They would bring in somebody else to direct. Then they would bring in somebody else, and they would just kind of keep just bringing on their own writers. Except for on the last draft that they did shoot, the director, Josh Trank,
yes,
was kind of removed, kind of not asked to kind of come back and hang out while they did reshoots.
Well, he's also the director.
Yes.
Yeah.
No, he didn't write. Him and his writer, because I think it was his writer for his breakout film Chronicle.
Right, that's the thing he's best known for.
Yes.
I was looking at his credits a little bit just to get a feel for, because I knew he did Chronicle, but I couldn't remember what else he did.
Capone, I think.
Yeah, in 2020 he released a film about Al Capone starring Tom Hardy, which I don't know how I missed. Then again, 2020 was a rough year.
Yeah, I'm like, was it a bad film and that's why I didn't watch it, or was it just a really
4.7 on IMDb?
Okay.
So probably pretty
Not
bad.
great.
But it has Tom Hardy in it, so I'm probably gonna watch it.
Right.
And then follow it with Bronson as a palate cleanser.
Right. A syphilitic Capone followed by a nude
greased up
Bronson.
Yeah, absolutely.
Wonderful. I was reading an article the other day about the real life Bronson when they told him that he was going to be played by Tom Hardy.
Oh, really?
Who up until that point had never bulked up for a role.
He bulked up pretty good for that one.
And they're like, he probably said something awful and homophobic.
I'm sure
when
he did.
First saw it. And then he saw Tom Hardy afterwards. He's like, well, I wouldn't want to meet that guy in an alley. Yeah.
All right. That's a compliment from him.
Well, if I'm recalling my nerd knowledge correctly, I think Tom Hardy played a clone of Picard at some point.
Yeah, wasn't that one of the Next Generation films or something? I haven't seen that.
I haven't either, but I do know that was when he liked heroin, which would explain why not so much muscle.
Yeah, that'll do that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Good for you, Tom Hardy. I love you. Do you want to talk about stats?
Yeah, let's talk about some stats.
Let's do that. Tomato meter. What are we thinking?
Oh, man. So I didn't hate this movie as much as I thought I was going to, at least throughout like the first half. Sure. I think it definitely gets worse. You said it gets worse after the 1 year later mark, and I agree with that. But I'm going to say like a 40.
No.
No. Okay.
No, much lower.
Much lower. Like a 12?
Like a 9.
9? Holy shit. Single digits.
Yeah.
Oh my God. That's harsh.
Want to guess the audience score?
Maybe the audience score is closer to like a 30?
18.
18. Well, that's close. Yeah. It is closer to a 30. I'm not technically wrong.
Yeah. So the first time I watched this movie, and I want to say that I do like the Fantastic Four. I've liked them since I was a kid.
Sure.
However, I had no belief that this was going to turn out to be a good movie.
They seem like weirdly hard to adapt for some reason, and I don't know if that's like just bad writing or like studio interference or what, but like for some reason this just is not landing.
I very much agree with you, and I look forward to discussing that.
Okay.
This particular one, Josh Trank was not a fan of the comics, or comics in general, I guess.
I guess some people would maybe say that there's a benefit to that he's not going to feel too beholden to the source material, and he's not going to try to make a one-for-one adaptation. But also...
Well, his knowledge of Fantastic Four comes from the 1994 animated series.
Oh, that's where he's cribbing from?
Yeah.
Okay.
I rewatched it last night, or an episode of it last night. It's horrible. It's really, really bad.
Like, how bad are we talking here?
So at first I was like, okay, well, I can give it the benefit of the doubt because it was like the early 90s. But it was 94. The animated X-Men series came out in 92.
Yeah?
You also had Batman the Animated Series, and even the Spider-Man animated series, which is like a little lower value, is still leagues better than this.
Wow.
It's very clearly made for children, like young children, by adults who think young children are stupid.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, that never works.
No.
That just never fucking works.
Marvel did this thing, I want to say in like the mid-2000s, where we've never actually made it this far in the movies, but Sue and Reed have 2 kids. Franklin, who's been around for a long time.
Okay.
And then I think Valeria, they just call her Val.
Okay.
I like her because she's like Franklin acts like a kid his age and is known as being like all powerful. They're really, we gotta watch that guy. He's a little too powerful for an 8-year-old. But Val inherited all of her father's smarts. So she's like a 5-year-old who's a genius.
Fantastic.
Yeah, love her. In the mid-2000s, Marvel's like, well, we don't really, like, the Fantastic Four series is not really, like, hitting for kids. Let's make a comic where it's just Franklin running around and hanging out with the older superheroes and being a goofball. And they drew it like Calvin and Hobbes.
What?
Yeah.
This is a weird series of decisions here.
I have not read it. It got good reviews.
All right.
But I like that they tried to do something like, okay, well, comics are not strictly for men in their 30s.
Fair.
Let's try to have some comics for kids. Besides, I think Scooby-Doo. They still run. Except for the time it was the post-apocalyptic Scooby-Doo, and that was awful.
Is that bad for kids?
It might as well have been.
Post-apoc is bad for kids. They can't deal with fallout.
I think they're delicious. Okay. Good gosh. Geez. IMDb score, huh?
IMDb score, I actually have that pulled up right in front of me, actually.
Okay.
Oh, wait, no, I don't. I have other stats in front of me. Like, I have cast and crew nonsense in front of me. Okay, now I do. It's a 4.3. So that's...
God damn it.
It's fucking IMDb. That's at least closer to what I was thinking it was going to be rated, but... You know, again, I didn't hate this movie as much as a lot of people did, apparently.
So, like, the first time I watched it, I hated it because I wanted a good movie, a good Fantastic Four movie. Mm-hmm. And I liked that they were trying new things.
Yeah.
So when it was garbage, I was really upset. Then I went back and rewatched all of them in a row so I could compare what was actually the worst Fantastic Four movie.
Okay. Let's delve into that a little further then.
Yeah. What would you guess of the 4?
I mean, my immediate inclination is it would have to be that 1994 Roger Corman one that was never actually released,
It's
right?
so bad. It's really, really, really bad. Yeah, so for those of you who don't know, in 1994, I think Fox hired Roger Corman to produce a Fantastic Four movie solely so they could hold on to the rights for the franchise.
Right. Yeah, I knew it was a rights placeholder kind of situation.
Yeah. I didn't make it the whole way through the documentary, but there's a documentary that goes back and talks to most of the crew, or most of the cast and some of the crew.
Okay.
They didn't know that this is what was happening.
Oh, they weren't. I guess they wouldn't be informed about any of that kind of shit.
No, but they're all like younger actors.
So they think they're getting like their big break.
Yeah.
They're doing this big Fox movie, the well-known established property.
Yeah.
That sucks.
And it's also early enough in comic books as a genre, superhero comic books as a genre, that people don't have a taste for what's good and bad.
Yeah, so I think at that point, the only real examples of comic book movies that we had were Tim Burton's Batman and the Richard Donner Superman.
Yes.
And also the not Richard Donner Superman.
Yes. Jerry Batman and Richard Superman. Those were the two that most people know. There was some made-for-TV stuff. There was the made-for-TV Captain America movie.
Oh, there was that,
There's
wasn't there?
two of them. Punisher. I don't know if the Nick Fury was before or after this, starring David Hasselhoff.
I want to say that was later, but I don't know for sure.
Yeah. But at this point, aside from those two that you mentioned, most people didn't think that a superhero movie could be done well. And even when it was done well, they didn't take it super seriously.
Sure.
They just were like, maybe money good? Because, Batman 89 broke a bunch of records.
Sure did.
So yeah, these like young actors and this like younger director were all super pumped to do the superhero movie in the vein of Batman and Batman Returns. And it was some silly bullshit. It sure was dumb. And I feel bad because they're still upset. They're still quite upset in the documentary.
I believe that. I can't say I blame them.
And I forget, it was like a Troma-like company who was doing it because they were like, yeah, we do like goofy sequels of sequels of sequels.
Okay.
And then they're like, oh, but Roger Corman's gonna throw some money, and they're gonna throw some money, and then so Dr. Doom is the villain, but you also have, and I don't understand why, because it's the Mole Man. It is the Mole Man.
Mole Man.
He's not called Moleman.
Mole Man.
Yeah. So in the first issue of Fantastic Four, the first villain they fight is the Mole Man.
Okay.
Who is this like schlubby douche who lives under the ground and controls different rock monster subterranean monsters. There's this like weird time in pulp comics where people were like, all the mysteries of inside the earth.
Yeah, I mean that's a long-standing like sci-fi thing. Like even Edgar Allan Poe has like a Hollow Earth like inside like in interior Earth like society story of some sort. Like that's a long-running trope.
I haven't seen it in the modern era, but yeah, I think they were probably on like the tail end of it when they wrote the Fantastic Four, which I think was like 1961.
That feels apt. Yeah.
So anyway, yeah, Jerry Molman brings his mole buddies up to New York, and they cause some hell, and
then get beaten up by the Fantastic Four.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know why they chose him specifically, but then they didn't choose him because they called him something else. It was something like the Crushy bad guy is generic like wrestler name.
Sure.
Who wants to seduce? They had Alicia Masters in it.
I'm not really familiar with Alicia Masters.
So Alicia Masters is a long time Fantastic Four character. Mm-hmm. She is the daughter of the Puppet Master.
Okay.
Who makes little clay people and then can control them. Well,
some like almost voodoo-esque shit.
Kind of like he could make like a clay version of you and then have you go wreak havoc on the South Side.
Sure. I mean, there's plenty of people doing that already. But right. Sure,
like no, another Puppet Master. But he's her daughter, so she's a really good sculptor, but she's blind. And therefore, her dad gets away with all sorts of evil shit. He's very evil.
Because he knows he can come home and just not be seen.
Right.
Dad, I feel like I hear the clinking of a metallic death ray. Is that? Am I hearing that correctly?
Nope, it's toaster.
No, sweetie, it's the toaster again. Okay.
And earlier, so she becomes romantically involved with Ben Grimm when he becomes a thing.
Because she can't see that he's a rock.
Yeah.
But she can feel that he's a rock, right?
Yeah.
I mean, she's into the feel.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I thought about last night.
Of course you did.
We'll get to it in part 2. I was like, well, what kind of rock is he? Because there's like different kinds of, there's many different kinds of rock.
There's a lot of different kinds of rocks. He's not, we can tell he's not coal.
He's not coal.
He's not coal. I don't know if he's.
Like he's a punchy rock, so we need to be a denser
tough,
rock.
Denser. Yeah, you got to have like a high scratch resistance.
Yeah.
You know, so not a softer rock.
Which then makes me wonder, does he do any kind of like polishing? Does he take a ride in the old rock tumbler?
Is that? You asked if Ben Grimm jerks it? Is that what's happening right now?
That's when the rock tumbler is a euphemism for jerking it.
Yeah, that's. But I'm not here to kink shame anybody.
Listen,
but
did I want to make the Fantastic Four horny? No, but we're going back to our roots here. Our like proto episode that we put out that did surprisingly well.
Yeah,
wherein we talk about whether or not heroes or villains do those things.
I should have known this is the direction that we were going to go with this, but
they've done stuff since then, which is, more sensitive to. She's too blind to know she's dumping a rock.
That hold on. You're going to tell me this woman's so blind that her hands can't distinguish rock from skin?
Well, no, she just doesn't mind because eyes bad. But they've expanded upon that where she's like, no, I know you're a fucking rock. I don't care. I like you.
Good. Okay. I would hope that would be a thing that they do because otherwise, what?
Yes. Would you like
to she operates the rock tumbler.
She does.
Okay.
It's a very on-off switch stuff. Let's take a break.
Okay.
I'm stuck.
Oh no.
Hey, welcome back. We're going to talk about the Razzies.
Yes.
The Fantastic Four did quite well at the Razzies.
As far as what that means for Razzies, yes.
Yes. As we mentioned at the top of the show, it won Best Worst Picture. The best at worst picturing.
I mean, it tied.
It tied.
So it was not the best. It was a best worst.
True.
Worst.
Do you recall if this is the only time this has happened, or
no? It's happened a couple of times.
Okay.
But it's the most recent time I think.
So it won. Tie won.
With
the award going to Simon Kinberg, Matthew Vaughn, Hutch Parker, Robert Kuldzer, and Gregory Goodman. I think they're all producers.
Yeah, they always list the producers on that award.
But don't you worry, because Josh Trank also won Worst Director.
Hey, but there it is.
So when this happened, I think there was like another director of this same ilk that young director did a movie, did really well. Studios came in, picked them up. Hey, you're going to direct our superhero movie because you're young, talented, and we can control you.
Huh.
And Josh Trank was one. I want to say the guy that did Safety Not Guaranteed was another one, but don't quote me on that.
Safety Not Guaranteed. I know I've seen
that. Oh, yeah,
that.
it's the guy who did the Jurassic Park movies, I think. Or the
Colin
first.
Trevorrow?
I think so.
Okay, yeah, I could see. Yeah, no, because he was one of the three initially announced to direct the sequel trilogy for Star Wars.
Yes,
because he was supposed to be he was supposed to be Rise of Skywalker, or what became Rise of Skywalker,
right? And
then they dropped him and brought JJ back.
They sure did.
Anyway, for some reason Neil Blomkamp was jumping into my mind when you were saying that, but I could be wrong about him.
I think he got screwed, but it was in a different camp.
In a different way. Yeah.
But like that group of, I say younger, but I don't think Colin Trevorrow was necessarily young, so he was a young filmmaker. But like us being young filmmakers ourselves, like, man, what if I Love You But did really well? And like, I love what they did there with that mannequin ass. Let's have them direct, I I was trying to think of an obscure superhero, but they've done all those movies now.
I've never seen a more beautiful shot of a sausage smacking a concrete floor. My God,
That was
these knife breaker boys are onto something. Yeah, I was bringing it in. I was going to say the title. Jesus.
Just say
we've done a lot of stupid shit,
and they loved every minute of it. Power Pack. There we go. I'm trying to think of an obscure superhero that we could direct.
Power Pack. I don't. Yeah. He's so obscure. I don't know him.
I hate him. When they would do like big X-Men crossovers back in the day, you'd have like the X-Men, and then you would do like a Thor issue, the crossover stuff.
Sure.
And then like every sixth one would be fucking Power Pack. I'm like, God damn it, I don't care. I don't care. They're 4 or 5 kids all with super power. It's like the Muppet Babies of the Fantastic Four.
Great.
I hate them. They have a following.
Why?
That are stupid. I'm okay with losing that listener.
Sorry, Terry.
Yeah, sorry, Terry. But there are so much better books out there. It also won Worst Prequel, Remake, Ripoff, or Sequel.
Fair.
It was nominated for Worst Screen Combo. Sorry. The winner went to 50 Shades of Grey.
Yeah, I thought I remember that going to Anastasia Steele and Christian Grey.
Yep. And then, of course, they're like any combination of the 4 on screen, which honestly, it's kind of
like there are moments where some of those interactions work, but like it's overall, it's not great.
I like when Michael B. Jordan is by himself.
I mean, I like Michael B. Jordan.
Yeah.
That's all that means.
Yeah. I feel bad because I've never watched Miles Teller in anything, so I don't know.
Neither have I. This is the only thing I've ever seen him in.
Because he did
at least that I'm aware of.
Was it Whiplash?
See, I haven't seen Whiplash.
I haven't either.
I want to see Whiplash because I love J.K. Simmons, but
yes. And is it Rooney? No,
that was Kate Mara. Yeah, which I know she can do better than this.
Yeah.
I feel like. This is one of my big problems with this movie is I feel like a lot of the actors were like kind of fenced in emotionally by the script. Just like it's like they didn't know what to do with their words and also faces.
Well, and you can kind of track the reshoot shots by how terrible her wig is.
Her wig's bad.
It's really bad wig.
Real bad.
Like I'm bad at recognizing when a wig is a wig, and I was like, that is a bad wig.
That is a bad wig. I think, I mean, given I'm used to seeing what she normally looks like because when House of Cards was a thing and people hadn't yet realized what a piece of shit Kevin Spacey is.
Right. Well, I think she's only in the first
she's only in the first season, I believe, and then they throw her in front of a train. Spoilers for a show that you really don't need to watch.
Literally throw her in front of a train.
Yeah,
and that was when I stopped watching the show.
I kept going. I watched everything except for the very last season, which it's too much. It's not worth it. But yeah, she was real good in that.
Yeah. They killed off both of the characters I really liked.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, I got nothing left to be here for. Anyway, so yeah, I know she can do better. And I don't know the other dude. Jamie Bell?
It was Jamie Bell, who played Ben Grimm.
Yeah.
I feel like I recognized him from somewhere, but I'm not sure where. I'm pulling him up on IMDb as we speak. Oh, Jumper. He was in fucking Jumper. Oh, no, he's Bernie Taupin in Rocket Man. That's where I recognize him from.
Okay.
He's fucking Elton John's songwriting part. He's really good in that.
Is he?
Actually.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'll take your word for it.
You haven't seen Rocket Man?
I've not.
Oh my God. See Rocket Man. It's a delight. Okay. It's so good. Genuinely, Taron Egerton does such a good job as Elton John. Right. Anyway.
A better movie than
much better movie than this. Good Lord.
Okay.
It was in the back of my mind the whole time. It's like, I know you from fucking somewhere. And that's what
Jumper.
It was. No, it wasn't Jumper. It definitely wasn't Jumper. It was definitely Rocket Man. Oh man, I'm kicking myself for not making that connection sooner.
Well, he's probably glad you remember him for that.
Yes. I would also rather be recognized for that. And like, I don't think he did bad in this. I just feel like he wasn't given anything to do in this for the most part. Like he's just kind of second banana, or at least once he becomes Jamie Bell, I feel like he's just second banana to Reed and then kind of forgotten for a minute until we see that Reed's still texting him.
Yeah.
And like, it's a shame because I feel like one of the things that did actually work about this film was the relationship between Reed and Ben.
I actually like the whole kind of like prologue where they're going to the science fair and they're like meet up and be friends, and Ben Grimm's getting beat up by his older brother,
who is Chet Hanks.
Who is that? Because you mentioned
that's Tom Hanks's asshole son.
Oh, what?
Yeah,
I didn't even see that.
Yeah, no, because I saw him. I was like, that guy looks familiar. Why is? Oh, because it's Chet fucking Hanks. That's like, so Tom Hanks has two sons.
Okay,
he has the one who I forget his name, but he did that movie Orange County with Jack Black.
Yeah,
and he's just a guy. He's
a guy.
He's all right. And then there's Chet, who's like actively rebels against his dad. You know, the face of the face of American niceness, as much as he possibly can. But yeah, that was definitely Chet Hanks beating up his brother and then getting beat up by his mom. And then later we see that Reed's dad is Tim Heidecker.
I'm still stuck on.
You're still stuck on Chet Hanks?
Yeah. He really hasn't done anything worth
watching.
He
hasn't.
I mean, he was in Atlanta, but
he was in Atlanta, really?
For an episode, yeah.
That's weird.
I hope they beat the shit out of him.
Possibly.
But yes, yeah, the cast, like if you were just to look at the cast list, which I did back in the day, and I was like, this is not a bad cast.
No.
They just didn't have anything to work with.
They genuinely didn't. Also, what fucking teacher is that discouraging of a student? That guy. Like, no fault to Dan Castellaneta for his performance there, right. Which also just weird seeing Dan Castellaneta in a Meat Space performance, because I'm so used to him voicing like an assload of people on The Simpsons.
Right.
Like fucking Homer Simpson playing this dickhead teacher.
Yeah.
Like even whenever he's just like a kid giving that speech at the very beginning, and he's just like, no, you need to stop with this, and it's like, okay, maybe he's going on a little bit long about how he's building a teleporter in his garage, but like maybe wait until after class and pull him aside and be like, are you okay? Like are you actually doing this thing?
You're
like
confusing
this
me,
can be
Joe.
Dangerous.
Because we both went to public school, so that teacher's behavior was not surprising to me.
Okay, I didn't say it was surprising.
Okay.
I also, dude, I had teachers in middle school that would throw chairs across the room and get pissed off the slightest slight or perceived slight. It just, it was awful. But ideally, a teacher...
They would go to therapy.
Well, yeah, they should go to therapy. But ideally, a teacher is not going to just publicly shoot down this kid's like interest and passion and ambition. And then later on, like... chide him for like magic and make him pay for make him pay for a shattered backboard on the basketball.
Who hasn't shattered a basketball backboard?
I mean, all those sick dunks that I've done. Yeah, obviously. Fucking Chet Hanks, good lord.
Fucking Chet Hanks.
I still can't. Him and Tim Heidecker in particular are just like, how the fuck are you in this movie for a second? Like.
You know who... Oh, I guess... Never mind. I was going to bring up what would clearly be more appropriate in the critique section.
Oh.
Never mind.
Okay.
What I will bring up is worst screenplay.
Did this get worst screenplay?
It got nominated.
That makes sense.
50 Shades of Grey still won.
Okay. I thought that was the case, but the way you said that maybe question my memory.
No, and you know what really pisses me off is how they credit the people involved. Because I don't think... any of these people actually had something to do with the final script. Jeremy Slater, Simon Kinberg, Josh Trank, and from the Marvel comic characters of Stan Lee and Jack Kirby, who most certainly had nothing to do with this.
So those are the credits as listed as on IMDb currently, but I'm sure you have some other information about that.
I'm gonna guess that's more like guild stuff because I want to say Jeremy Slater was the first who worked on it.
Okay.
Oh, fuck me. I forgot about Akiva Goldman. God damn it.
Wait, Akiva Goldman was wrapped up in this?
Yeah. So when they first decided to reboot it in 2009, Akiva Goldman came in to produce. I suppose I should tell for people who don't know, Akiva Goldman typically has his name attached to something vaguely superhero-ish, and it's awful.
He's done other stuff though that
He has.
is very good.
Yeah. So he started out as a writer. He did A Time to Kill, followed by Batman and Robin.
Yeah, yeah.
Then he did Lost in Space, but followed by Practical Magic.
Oh, okay.
He did A Beautiful Mind,
That's right. He did do A Beautiful Mind. I always forget that.
followed by, well, not followed by, but also Rings.
Mm.
I think the third Ring sequel.
Yeah, something like that.
American sequel. And he's currently attached to the Constantine sequel, which I don't even know what that means. And I
Oh,
hope
they're
it
doing another Keanu Reeves Constantine. I'm excited.
Let me read more of Akiva Goldman's credits for you.
Fair. Okay.
He also wrote The Dark Tower.
The
Matthew McConaughey
Idris Elba one.
Idris Elba one. Yeah.
Oh boy.
And then he just he likes to produce superhero kind of stuff that sucks. Jonah Hex.
Oh god.
I haven't seen Hancock, but I assume it.
Oh boy.
It's bad. Okay.
It's a trip. It's worth checking out just to see how buck wild it can get.
Okay. All right.
Will Smith as a retired drunken superhero is just kind of a trip, man.
Aspiring career. He produced the most recent Firestarter.
Oh, no one like that.
That we might end up covering later.
We might end up covering that. Yeah, I mean, we find out pretty soon.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm not a big fan of Akiva Goldman. So there's so many different people who worked on this. It's another one of those situations where it's like, oh, I think Jeremy Slater wanted to have a more comic book accurate superhero movie.
Okay.
Specifically in the same vein as the first Avengers movie, because that had come out, I think, a couple of years earlier and did bonkers well.
Yeah, that was 4 years prior, if I'm not mistaken. That was 2011?
Yeah.
Something
right.
like that?
Either 2011 or 2012. But, yep, didn't happen.
No, this is very much not that.
And then I think Simon Kinberg was brought on.
Okay.
To do the final script. It doesn't matter. It's all garbage.
It's not good. It's for as much as I didn't hate it, I also didn't like it. It's not a good movie.
So before we go, I do want to talk about what happened to poor Josh Trank.
Right, you'd mentioned that there was a tweet of some sort. There was he had, when we were on break, you told me he tweeted something and it got him in a lot of trouble. What happened there?
Yeah. He shot the film, as you do, and then the studio stepped in and wanted to do major reshoots.
Yes.
In Josh Trank's opinion, it was very different from what he had shot and what the tone that he wanted to get across, which if I recall correctly, was a mix of comic book with their words, not mine, David Cronenberg.
Oh man,
it sounds like something I would say, but it's not me this time.
It does sound like something you would say, and also something you would want, but
not. And we'll get to this in part 2. Not this franchise,
sure.
But you can kind of see pieces of that in the final product of David body horror, the body horror aspect.
I'm thinking specifically the struggle of Reed to control his limbs.
Yeah,
in the immediate aftermath of the accident.
Yeah,
and the way he's pulling himself through that the ventilation
yes.
duct, and you can see it's just this long tracking shot of his stretched out body, and it takes hilariously long for his hip bones to come in and
hip bones, the funniest bone. So Josh Trank responded to this on Twitter, basically saying this is not my film.
Okay.
It doesn't reflect what I wanted. There was a much better film made than I made, a better cut. And the studio was not happy with this. And as, again, we were talking about on break, this has happened before and has happened since. So I don't understand why he specifically got...
It's not that uncommon a thing for people to say. It's pretty well known that studio interference and reshoots have a pretty significant impact on a lot of films. And I think you mentioned David Ayers in relation to this, how a lot of people are frustrated about his Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
Because it very clearly feels like two different movies just kind of Frankenstein together. At least that's how I felt about it in that time that I saw it with my mom, because she wanted to see it for some reason.
Interesting.
Yeah, it was weird. Neither of us liked it very much.
No, it was a pretty bad movie. What might have happened, and I don't know this for a fact, I wonder if that tweet came out before the movie premiered, which would have shot them in the foot financially.
Could have. Yeah, that could have helped derail any kind of hype for the movie. I'm not familiar with that particular incident from whenever it happened, because 2015 feels like 80 years ago. But that would be an interesting thing to look into. Maybe we'll take a quick look before part 2.
Well, also, I remember this being one of those movies like, okay, we're going to watch this because we know it's going to be a train wreck. And I remember there being a bunch of rumors going around that Josh Trank was a dictator on set.
Really?
And that he and Miles Teller, who played Reed, got into the fisticuffs.
They fought?
Rumored. I personally don't believe any of that.
Okay.
I think Josh Trank was like, this movie sucks and I'm mad my name's attached to it. And then they're like, we've got to discredit Josh Trank.
So that could be a smear job.
Yeah.
Yeah. And given that we are well past the days of Alan Smithying a project.
But maybe it's for the better, maybe it's for the worst. I don't know. We'll have to check a different dimension to see how it turned out. But Josh Trank was originally assigned to...
I don't want to do that. You see what happens when you jump between dimensions.
I don't care anymore.
That's just... I don't want to be a rock man. I don't want to be a dickless rock man.
Okay, there we go. Okay. I was like, well, that'd be nice. It would really...
No one can hurt me then.
It would really depend on what kind of rock. I've dated a lot of people who have different crystals, and like some of them are more pretty.
If it would turn me into like a Steven Universe gem,
ooh yeah,
then okay, yeah, maybe I can get down on that.
Nope, shale.
Ah, shit.
Can't walk anywhere without everybody being like, "Ah, my ears."
You're made of mica. Oh God, I'm just trying flaky.
Weird. There's a dimension somewhere in the Marvel universe where the thing is like talc.
People just bring their babies to him.
Yeah,
just
yeah, go ahead. God. So it's generally accepted that in writing the Fantastic Four, Jack Kirby made the thing after himself and Reed Richards after Stan Lee. Because I don't know how many people know this, but in the early days of Marvel, there was something called the Marvel method, where the way that the comics were written was the artist would draw it first, and then Stan Lee would come in and write the dialogue on top of it.
Right.
What you might be thinking to yourself is, so the artist is also the writer then?
Kinda, yeah. You're dictating the way things go.
You would not be entirely wrong in this podcaster's opinion.
Yeah.
That is why I forget which artist on Spider-Man was just like, fuck it, I'm out. Because like by the end, he wasn't even doing the dialogue. He was just like signing his name on it. Stan Lee was signing his name on it. Yeah, Stan Lee's a problematic hero.
Yeah.
I really wish that Jack Kirby had gotten the, maybe not fame. I don't think he wanted fame, but like recognition.
Recognition, absolutely. The credit that he deserved.
Yeah. And most like longtime comic book fans are well aware that like Jack Kirby was brilliant for his time.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
But also the Thing.
Also the Thing.
The Thing. Yeah. God, we could have like an entire third episode on me just like talking about how awesome Jack Kirby is. Truly tragic character.
Yeah.
Yeah. Would be so busy drawing that he forgot how to drive.
Jesus fucking Christ. What?
Yeah.
How do you practice a skill so hard you forget another skill?
Yeah. He'd have to have his wife drive.
God damn, dude.
Yeah.
I've never done anything that hard in my life. I don't want to do anything that hard in my life.
You and I both do some drawing. My hands hurt pretty bad after like a rigorous bout of drawing. And
look, that's why I stopped doing them simultaneously.
Right.
I just
Lefty's just not the same. I can't draw the faces. Something had to be sacrificed here.
Gosh. On that note,
Joe, where can they find us?
Thank you for joining us
angry
for
letters.
part 1 here of whatever this was. You can find us anywhere you listen to podcasts. If you want to follow us on social media, you can follow us on Twitter at DeRazzledPod, on Facebook at DeRazzled Podcast, on Instagram at DeRazzled_podcast, and on TikTok at DeRazzled_podcast. If you haven't already, please rate, review wherever you possibly can. That helps us get in front of more people and helps expose more people to what we are doing around here. So thank you to everyone who has already done that, and please continue doing that. We love it. We appreciate it. If you have any suggestions for things you'd like to see us cover or merch you'd like to see appear in our merch store on Redbubble, please email us at DeRazzledPodcast@gmail.com.
And if you are going to light your cigarette with this on the stovetop, make sure to lean to the side. Lean to not over top.
Not over top.
Lean to the side.
Ideally, don't
smoke.
Don't do that first off. But if you're going to, don't use the stove.
Come back next time because we're sure to razzle dazzle.
Yeah.